On everybody, my name is Austin and welcome back to the channel. Now most of you probably don't know who I am, and that's a good thing. Like I said before, my name is Austin. I run more of a topic commentary channel where I talk about various YouTube drama, idiot articles, and Rule 34. Don't pay attention to that last part, I just provide for the people in need. But for right now, we're going to do something different. I've always found these Iceberg videos really intriguing, so I'm going to try one. Granted, trying to make one of these videos is incredibly difficult on my phone, but guess what? I don't care. I feel like trying something out of my comfort zone. I'm sure all of you have seen the title, and this Iceberg is about metal. There's silver, iron... No, you simpleton. I'm talking about this. Definitely different than your average 3.5-minute pop song. So that's what this Iceberg is about. Before we truly get into this Iceberg, I want to tell you guys a little bit more about metal so you truly understand. You see, this music genre is incredibly important to me because it is arguably my favorite music genre to listen to. No matter how many of these religious fanatics or these subliminal messages I may listen to will never impact me listening to metal. Heavy metal, or simply metal, is a genre of rock music that developed in the late 1960s and early 1970s, largely in the United Kingdom and the United States. In 1968, three of the genre's most famous pioneers, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, and Deep Purple, were founded. Metal is a large variety of punk rock, and normal blues that all just kind of fused together and created what the amazing sound we have today is. This video by Loudwire will tell you a lot more than I can because I really want to get into this Iceberg. I will be referencing Loudwire a couple times in this video, purely for the sake of time, and they can go through and explain it a lot better than I can. Now grab a bowl of popcorn or some cereal, start cleaning your room and doing something ethical, and let's get it. Metallica. Metallica is an American heavy metal band that was formed in 1981 in Los Angeles, California, whose four current members are James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich, Kirk Hammett, and Robert Trujillo. With James Hetfield on vocals and guitar, Kirk Hammett on lead guitar, Lars on drums, and Robert on bass. Metallica has had 9 members in total. The aforementioned four, Jason Newsted, Cliff Burton, who was tragically killed in a bus accident on tour, Dave Mustaine, and Ron McGovney. Metallica's albums list Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Justice for All. Metallica, also known as the Black Album, Load, Reload, Saint Anger, Death Magnetic, and Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Metallica is widely regarded as the greatest metal band of all time. Their songs are just so great to listen to, you can't get enough of them. My personal 3 are Battery, Blackened, and Master of Puppets. And if you want, tell me in the comments what's your favorite 3 Metallica songs. Heavy metal. I'm pretty sure I already explained this. It's the main genre of metal. You got your Metallica, Slayer, Judas Priest, and all that just kind of clumped into this just heavy metal scene. Basically the main thing that connects everything together. Now I will probably get some things wrong, so don't be shy to go tell me in the comments below. Prog metal. Think of, bro, I just listened to this band you'd never heard of, and you got prog metal. Progressive metal, sometimes shortened to prog metal, is a broad fusion music genre melding heavy metal and progressive rock, combining the loud aggression and amplified guitar-driven sound of the former with the more experimental, cerebral, or pseudo-classical compositions of the latter. Your main leaders of prog metal would probably be Dream Theater, Opeth, and Tool. I think those are guys that everyone would see as the big prog metal bands. The Metallica Megadeth drama. Dave Mustaine is the lead vocalist and guitarist of Megadeth. However, when I was talking about Metallica, you probably heard that he was also part of Metallica. He was actually Metallica's first lead guitarist. However, back in 1983, James and Lars actually kicked Dave out of Metallica over his drunkenness and some disputes that were going on in the band. However, this led Mustaine to go for Megadeth, which Dave Mustaine has outwardly admitted that he created Megadeth to get revenge on Metallica. The two bands, Metallica and Megadeth, are part of the Big Four, and people still ask who is better than the other, Metallica or Megadeth. Folk metal. Now I want you to imagine something. Imagine giving a leprechaun a guitar, a bass set, and drums, and you just got folk metal. Yeah, this genre can be pretty weird unless you know who you're listening to. Folk metal is a fusion genre of heavy metal music and traditional folk music that developed in Europe during the 1990s. It is characterized by the widespread use of folk instruments and, to a lesser extent, traditional singing styles. It is also sometimes features soft instrumentation influenced by folk rock. Now, if somebody watching this likes folk metal, please tell me in the comments who I should listen to because it's been a very interesting genre to hear about. Thrash metal. Thrash metal is typically the genre that people think about when thinking about metal. Lots of really fast drums, hyper guitars. Look at the cover art of any Slayer album and you'll know exactly what you're getting yourself into. Thrash metal is an extreme subgenre of heavy metal music characterized by its overall aggression and often fast tempo. The songs usually use fast percussive beats and low register guitar riffs overlaid with shredding style led guitar work. Some of the most popular bands on the planet come out of thrash metal. Slayer, Anthrax, Exodus, and early Metallica are part of it. Thrash metal is my personal favorite, but I want you guys to tell me what your favorite thrash metal band is. Slipknot. Slipknot is an American heavy metal band formed in Des Moines, Iowa in 1995 by percussionist Sean Crahan, drummer Joey Jordison, and bassist Paul Gray. Slipknot's current members are Corey Taylor, Sean Crahan, Craig Jones, Mick Thompson, Sid Wilson, Jim Root, Alessandro Venturella, and Jay Weinberg. Slipknot's albums are Slipknot, also known as 1999, Iowa, Volume 3, The Subliminal Verses, All Hope Is Gone, The Gray Chapter, and We Are Not Your Kind. Slipknot is also in the category of nu metal, and they are also seen as one of those bands you should really stay away from because their masks are scary. I personally love Slipknot. If you like them too, tell me in the comments below. But with that, everybody, we are officially done with layer number 1. I won't waste anybody's time, so let's get into this. Satanism. Satanism is a group of ideological and philosophical beliefs based on Satan. Contemporary religious practice of Satanism began with the founding of the Atheistic Church of Satan in America in 1966, although a few historical precedents exist. Yeah, it's no secret that metal bands love using satanic imagery. There's even some satanic bands that actually exist. And Satanism actually has some roots in metal. See this Loudwire video if you want more information. Death metal. You know how I said this about thrash metal? Thrash metal. Thrash metal is typically the genre that people think about when thinking about metal. Yeah, well, I'm gonna say the same about death metal. Death metal is an extreme subgenre of heavy metal music. It typically employs heavily distorted and low-tuned guitars, play with techniques such as palm muting and tremolo picking with deep growling. Well, I'm not entirely off when I say that death metal was heavily, and I mean heavily, inspired by thrash metal. And you can argue that Slayer directly created the genre. Some of the most famous death metal bands would be, wouldn't you guessed it, Death, Cannibal Corpse, and Creator. I personally like death metal. You know, there's some good bands, there's some other ones that I'm not really too fond of, but hey, if you like death metal, tell me in the comments below who your favorite death metal band is. And of course, Loudwire has a video about who made death metal. Collecting records, CDs, and tapes. I think this is the first one that I really don't know much about. I personally don't collect a lot of records and stuff. However, there is a very large community of people that do it, and even on YouTube you can go find videos. Varg Vikernes Arson. Varg Vikernes was a popular black metal musician in the Norwegian black metal scene, where he founded the band Burzum. In 1992, Varg and many other members of the Norwegian black metal scene were suspected of burning down 4 Norwegian churches. And in 1993, Varg fatally stabbed Mayhem guitarist Euronymous after what Varg called self-defense. He was arrested, then in 1994 he was charged with church arson, first-degree murder, and possession of explosives. And in which during his trial, Varg very creepily stares into the camera and smiles, giving us this wonderful photo that we have today. Unblack metal. While black metal bands mainly focus on anti-religious values, unblack metal bands actually preach their religion to their audiences, while still using imagery that most black metal bands use. However, unblack metal is viewed with a lot of scrutiny in the black metal scene, because black metal's pioneers were largely anti-Christian. They viewed Christianity as something that really cannot be a part of metal, as it has a very dark nature to it. Some of the more popular unblack metal bands would be Ancestor, Crimson Moonlight, and Frost Like Ashes. And with that, we have reached the end of layer number 2. I'm gonna shut up now, let's get into layer number 3. Raw black metal. Raw black metal is a subgenre of the larger black metal genre. A mutation of the second wave black metal style, raw black metal took its roots in an even more lo-fi, harsh, visceral, and disgusting sound that often turns even dedicated black metal listeners off. I personally have never really liked black metal that much. It really just isn't a style for me, so I can't really tell you much about it from my own perspective. However, I can tell you some of the most popular raw black metal bands. Moonblood, Black Asylum, and Defrontis are seemingly some of the more popular ones. Glenn Benton sold his soul. Glenn Benton is the vocalist and bassist of the band Deicide. the band Deicide. He is also known for his Satanistic beliefs and the inverted cross he had branded on his forehead. He has openly expressed that he has a, quote, spiritual link with Satan, and that Satan tells him what to say and what to write about. However, I cannot find anything about Glenn actually selling his soul to Satan. This might just be a meme in the metal community playing off his actual Satanism, or it's just speculation. The Dawn of the Black Hearts. The Dawn of the Black Hearts is a bootleg live album made by the black metal band Mayhem. Remember Varg and Euronymous? Yeah, those guys. Although the album is an actual bootleg, the album itself is seen as one of Mayhem's actual main albums. The album itself sparked controversy over the album cover. The album cover itself is a real photo of the former Mayhem lead vocalist after he committed suicide. Euronymous then took his skull fragments and made them into necklaces for his bandmates. The band's bassist Necro Butcher then left the band after he was so disgusted by Euronymous' actions. Necro Butcher was replaced by Varg, who killed Euronymous 2 years later. The album itself to this day still is used as a reissued bootleg version of the band. Chris Moyen. From what I've been able to research, Chris Moyen is an album cover artist. A really good album cover artist. From looking at his discography, I can tell that he mainly focuses on the more satanic side of the album covers. He does have his own website online where you can go check out other artworks of his. Porno Grind. Porno Grind, also known as Porn Grind or Porno Gore, is a musical microgenre offshoot to Gore Grind that lyrically deals with sexual and pornographic themes, hence the name. Yeah, Porno Grind is just one of those genres where you look at it and then you slowly back away. Some Porno Grind bands would be Cock and Ball Torture, Gut, and Rompa Prop, Pink Death Crush, and Yellow Bathory. Death Crush is an EP album released by Mayhem in 1987. The original album cover color is in red. However, the first 1,000 numbered vinyls were sold in pink, so the 1,000 original pink Death Crush vinyls are incredibly rare. In 1984, the band Bathory released their first self-titled album, Bathory. The album cover has the title of the band and a goat in the front. Bathory asked the vinyl company if they could make the vinyl in a gold color. However, gold was too expensive for the cover, and Kwarthon, one of the band members, asked if they could have it as close to gold as possible. So the vinyl company did just that, and they made the vinyl in a super ugly yellow. Kwarthon is then quoted in saying that it looked awful, and after the first 1,000 pressings, they changed it to a normal black and white. Blasphemy Couch. Blasphemy is a black metal band based out of Vancouver, Canada, and all I could find about them along with the couch is a picture of them sitting on the couch. I couldn't find any particular story that goes along with this, so if there's anything about this that is relevant, please tell me in the comments below. Death Like Silence Productions. Death Like Silence Productions was a Norwegian independent record label founded in Oslo in 1987 that focused on black metal. DSP supported the black metal revival in the early 1990s. Helveti was the headquarters of DSP, which was founded by Mayhem's Euronymous. Euronymous operated the label until his murder by Varg in 1993. Voices of Wonder took over the record label after the death of Euronymous, which operated the record label until 1994 when it met its demise. Ed Repka steals/reuses art. Ed Repka is an American graphic artist best known for his album art. He's created album art for many bands like Death, Megadeth, and the Misfits. However, there are some cases where Repka will completely reuse some artwork he had already done before or plagiarize a bit of somebody else's. However, Repka is still one of the greatest album cover artists to ever live. Well, that seems to be it for layer number 3. If you want to criticize, critique me and anything, go tell me in the comments below. And I'll see you guys in layer number 4. Phil shot Dimebag. Phil Anselmo and Dimebag Darrell were both a part of the widely renowned heavy metal band Pantera, with the band itself being called one of the greatest metal bands of all time, and with Dimebag being remembered as one of the greatest guitarists of all time. However, during his time in the band, Phil Anselmo became increasingly more addicted to the drug heroin, which had begun to start a rift in the band. Pantera went on hiatus in 2001, and after communication with Phil broke down, they eventually disbanded. After leaving Pantera, Dimebag Darrell went on to found the band Damage Plan. On December 8th, 2004, Damage Plan and Dimebag Darrell were performing in a Columbus nightclub, when a man with a Beretta semi-automatic pistol charged the stage and killed Dimebag Darrell and 3 other people. The shooter however, was not Phil Anselmo. It was a man named Nathan Gale, a former U.S. Marine who was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. Nathan Gale was also an avid fan of Pantera and had started to get increasingly more obsessed with the band. However, some of Gale's friends had reported that he had thought that Pantera had stolen his lyrics and were planning to steal his identity. People began to speculate that Phil Anselmo actually incited the shooting. During a Metal Hammer interview, Phil Anselmo had been quoted by saying that Dimebag should be beaten severely, but after a police investigation, no evidence was ever found that the quote incited the shooting. After the recording was found, Vinnie Paul listened to the interview and has since cut ties with Phil Anselmo completely until he died in 2018. And before I leave off this segment, rest in peace Dimebag Darrell and Vinnie Paul. The Ross Bay Cult. The Ross Bay Cemetery is located on Vancouver Island in Canada and is the alleged site of satanic rituals, along with being a frequent meeting place for a lot of the black metal bands in the area, one of them being Blasphemy. However, I can't find much about this cult, so if anybody has any more information, tell me in the comments below. Slayer is first wave black metal. Slayer is seen as one of the greatest thrash metal bands to ever exist. However, it's also seen as one of the key contributors to black metal. Rick Rubin, an American record producer, is also quoted in saying they are one of the inventors of the genre. And while yes, Slayer does share similarities with many black metal bands, like their speed, imagery, and lyrics, however, most people would just put them in the category of a thrash metal band. But whatever genre you can put them in is up for debate. The Recycler. The Recycler was a classified ads paper that was posted in the LA newspaper that is responsible for starting some of the greatest rock and metal bands of all time. James Hetfield responded to an advertisement posted by Lars Ulrich, which founded Metallica. Mick Mars responded to Nikki Sixx, which helped form Motley Crue. Slash joined Guns N' Roses after responding to Izzy Stradlin. And Eric Erlandson responded to Courtney Love. Paul Di'Anno never left Iron Maiden. I don't understand what this one's trying to say. Yeah, he technically never did leave Iron Maiden. He was fired. During his time in Iron Maiden, he had become increasingly more addicted to cocaine and alcohol, and Iron Maiden had to cancel gigs because of his lack of desire and inability to perform, and went and found Jesus himself, Bruce Dickinson. And Paul Di'Anno has even admitted that Iron Maiden was right to get rid of him. Slaughter of the Soul is proto-grindcore. Slaughter of the Soul is the fourth studio album released by the Swedish death metal band At the Gates. At the Gates specializes in melodic death metal. Grindcore is an extreme fusion genre of heavy metal and hardcore punk that originated in the mid-1980s, drawing inspiration from the abrasive sounding musical styles such as thrashcore, crust punk, hardcore punk, and extreme metal and industrial. And after listening to some songs from the album plus a little bit of grindcore, I will tell everyone the similarities are there. Jonathan Davis was never molested. Jonathan Davis is the lead vocalist from the band Korn. In Korn's self-titled debut album, they released a song named Daddy. Jonathan Davis has stated the song is about being molested as a child and nobody believing him. This caused many people to assume that Jonathan Davis's father had molested him. However, Davis has gone on record in saying it was not about his father, it was actually a family friend. When I was a kid, I was being abused by somebody else and I went to my parents and told them about it, and they thought I was lying and joking around. They never did shit about it. They didn't believe it was happening to their son. I don't really like to talk about that song. This is as much as I've ever talked about it. What the fuck, man? I think this segment is more about speculation than overall fact. I haven't been able to find anything that says he wasn't molested as a child. Nurgle is a Nazi. Nurgle is the widely popular frontman for the band Behemoth. Nurgle recently came under fire for wearing shirts that said "Fuck Antifa" and "Black Metal Against Antifa." People thought that Nurgle was an actual Nazi after it. Nurgle responded to the statements by saying this: "When I post someone wearing an anti-Antifa shirt, it doesn't make me a Nazi supporter. I'm concerned about damage they make to the scene. The ideals are okay, but the execution of them is utterly incompetent." Nurgle has also sparked controversy by saying there's a little bit of Adolf Hitler in all of us. Subliminal messages. On December 23, 1985, two young men attempted to commit suicide. The 18-year-old died at the scene, and the 20-year-old only maimed himself to die 3 years later. The two families of the men then filed lawsuits against the widely popular band Judas Priest. The lawsuits alleged that Judas Priest had planted subliminal messages within their music. 5 years after the incident, the families took Judas Priest to court. The attorney of the families alleged that the subliminal messages included "Let's be dead" and "Do it" inside of their lyrics. He then labeled the messages as an invasion of privacy and tried to quote Jimi Hendrix to bolster his defense. He quoted Jimi Hendrix on saying how hypnotizing music can be. Guitarist Glenn Tipton then suggested that they play the speech backwards to see if there were any subliminal messages within the music. For 6 weeks, the judge, band, and the families were all forced to listen to Judas Priest music backwards to see if they could find any evidence of subliminal messages. The judge eventually dismissed the case and stated that the music couldn't be used to make a person kill themselves. Well, everybody, we have officially made it to the end of layer number 4. Give yourself a pat on the back if you're still watching, and I would like to see you guys in layer number 5. Kwarthon was gay. Kwarthon was the lead vocalist of the band Bathory, as well as being one of the pioneers of black metal and the creator of Viking metal. However, Kwarthon had one fatal flaw. He was really good looking, and at times he had a very questionable wardrobe. Kwarthon never had any kids or a wife, so we don't know if he was straight or not, because sadly he died when he was only 38 years old. Ozzy is dead. Back in early 2020, there were rumors spreading around that Ozzy Osbourne had tragically died. However, they were all part of an elaborate death hoax. But during 2019 and 2020, Ozzy Osbourne was dealing with many health problems. Ozzy had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and had to undergo a spinal surgery. Ozzy had been quoted in saying, "I've been in such a bad state with pain, I'm still having a lot of pain, nothing like it was. There was a point I was telling Sharon the other day, I was convinced that I was dying. I was in that much discomfort and pain and misery. I thought they were all hiding it from me." However, that didn't stop the Prince of Darkness, and he's still alive to this day. Bobby Blitz is a pedophile. Bobby Blitz is the 62-year-old lead vocalist of the thrash metal band Overkill. And through researching and stuff, I couldn't find anything about him being a pedophile other than this quote. "Rate the following chicks on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a mess and 10 being a hottie. Britney Spears, 16 years old. No pedophilia on this end." So if there's any information that I don't know, please tell me in the comments below. The PMRC created NSBM. The Parents Music Resource Center was an American committee formed in 1985 with the stated goal of increasing parental control over the access of children to music deemed to have violent, drug-related, or sexual themes via labeling albums with parental advisory stickers. If you want to know more about the PMRC, go check out this Loudwire video for more information. National Socialist Black Metal, also known as NSBM, Aryan Black Metal, and Neo-Nazi Black Metal, is a political movement and subgenre within the black metal music scene that promotes neo-Nazism and fascist and white supremacist ideologies. I personally don't know exactly how these two subjects are related, but I guess they somehow are. If anyone has any more information, please tell me in the comments below. Slam metal has lyrics. Slam death metal is a subgenre of brutal death metal that focuses on slow or mid-tempo as well as breakdown style sections built on chromatic palm muted riffs, so-called slams. If you didn't understand what all that means, it means it's a type of style of metal that focuses more on moshing instead of actual rhythm and music. That's why nobody understands what the fuck they're saying. So yes, slam metal does have lyrics. You're just gonna have to look up what the lyrics actually say. Seth Putnam was an FBI informant. Seth Putnam was the vocalist for the grindcore band Anal Cunt. Although sadly, for some fucked up reason, I can't find out about this FBI informant story, even though I'm very interested in what it is. Dave Mustaine was Metallica's bus driver. Dave Mustaine was one of the original members of Metallica, and when they kicked him out of the band, they drove him down to the Greyhound bus station, put him on a Greyhound bus, and sent him back home. I don't know if this is speculation on whether he was the bus driver of Metallica in their early days or not, but I can't find anything about it. Celtic Frost invented glam metal. Celtic Frost is a death metal band formed in Switzerland in 1981. And in 1984, they released their debut album, Morbid Tales. And while yes, they do have the look of 80s hair metal bands, their overall album releases and formation is out of date, because glam metal started to take its roots in the late 1970s, along with their overall genre being something that most glam metal bands wouldn't focus on. Alright everybody, that is it for layer number 5. Let's get on with layer number 6. Black Metal ist Krieg. Black Metal ist Krieg, also known as Black Metal is War, is the third full-length album by the black metal band Nargaroth. The album's full title is Black Metal ist Krieg, a dedication monument, and was intended to be a tribute to early black metal musicians. And the album itself includes 4 cover songs that deal with the history of black metal. Kerry King never had hair. Kerry King, also known as Kerry fucking King to most metalheads, is the co-founder and co-lead guitarist of the band Slayer. Saying Kerry King never had hair is like an in-joke to most metalheads because Kerry King is definitely But however, this is an easily disproven fact because yes, indeed, Kerry King at one point did have hair. Sabaton is war metal. Sabaton is a Swedish power metal band formed in 1999, and pretty much every single one of their songs is based around some aspect of war. A couple of their songs include The Red Baron, The Bismarck, and The Winged Hussars. Most metalheads consider Sabaton a meme based on their war influence. Euronymous is still alive. This is most likely a conspiracy theory, however, Euronymous is very much so dead. Well, everyone, we have reached the final layer of this iceberg, so let's get into layer number 7. Jared Dines is a comedic genius. Jared Dines is a popular metal YouTuber with just under 3 million subscribers. Jared has built his channel based on his reaction content and making fun of metal tropes. And although he may not be particularly funny in any way, he is one of my favorite YouTubers to watch. Wiggerslam. Wiggerslam is a term used for slam death metal bands exhibiting influences from hip-hop culture. The term itself was coined by the blogger Sergeant D, known for his articles and blogs within the website Stuff You Will Hate and Metal Sucks. Some Wiggerslam bands would be Glassectomy, Soils of Fate, and Vomit Remnants. The Rob Halford sex tape. All I can find about this segment is that apparently Rob Halford made a sex tape. I don't know, I'm not interested in seeing it any other way. Chuck Schuldiner died of AIDS. Chuck Schuldiner was the founder and lead vocalist of the band Death, until in 2001 when he died of a brain tumor. All I could find about Chuck Schuldiner dying of AIDS was this Facebook post. Chuck Schuldiner died of AIDS, just like the men he'd blown when he celebrated a faggot's death. He was talking about his own. Chuck Schuldiner died of AIDS. The brain tumor was just a lie. Chuck Schuldiner died of AIDS. That he got butt fucking guys. His music sucked, he died of AIDS, his mom's a cunt, and Death was gay. Chuck Schuldiner died of AIDS, just like Eazy-E. All his shirts were stained with semen, and his breath smelled just like pee. His music sucks, he died of AIDS, his mom's a cunt, and Death was gay. Oh, thank God, it's finally over. This is by far the longest, most time-consuming video that I've ever made. This is by far, without a doubt, the most effort I have ever put into a video, so I really hope you guys enjoy. Like I had stated at the beginning of the video, I'm normally just a topic commentary channel that I focus on major breaking news going on in the YouTube community, but I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something out of my comfort zone, and I'm proud of how this video turned out. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video, and for the people who are new here, make sure you guys go like, subscribe, and for the people who have been returning subscribers watching my videos, thank you guys so much for believing in me enough to subscribe. And with that, everybody, I would like to thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it, make sure you guys go like, subscribe, follow me on my social media like my Twitter, and join the Discord in the description below. And of course, like always, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.